Hey everyone, welcome back. We're going to jump right into a big update on Malaysia's economy for 2025. It has been a pretty incredible year, and we're going to see exactly how that's shaking up the property market. So, let's get into it. And right off the bat, look at this number. Wow, 285.2 billion ringgit. And get this, that's just the approved investments from January to September of 2025. This number, it really sets the tone for everything else we're going to talk about today. It's a huge sign of some serious economic momentum. All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to start big with the whole country's economic engine. Then we'll zoom in on the Klang Valley property scene, which is really a story of two different places, KL and Selangor. And to wrap it all up, we'll look at a case study of one company that's just crushing it in this market. Okay, let's kick things off with that economic engine. Time to look at the macroeconomic forces that are really driving all this growth. So check this out, 5.2% GDP growth in just Q3. That's not just some statistic. That's a number that gets people excited. It builds confidence across the entire market. And it was really the services and manufacturing sectors that were firing on all cylinders to make this happen. And if you're wondering where that confidence is coming from, well, here's a big part of the answer. Foreign investments shot up by almost 50%. We're talking a massive 150.8 billion ringgit. It just goes to show you, even with all the uncertainty in the world, global investors are looking at Malaysia and thinking, yeah, that's a good bet. Tourism has also been a huge part of the story. You can see here that Malaysia saw a 9% jump in tourist arrivals. Now, that might sound good on its own, but look at it next to the global average of just 5%. Malaysia isn't just recovering, it's actually outperforming the rest of the world. That's a big deal. Okay, so we have this booming economy, right? But what does that actually mean for everyday people, for the housing market? Well, it feeds directly into real estate. And there's no better place to see that in action than in the country's economic core, the Klang Valley. And what's fascinating about the Klang Valley is that it's really a tale of two cities. Or, well, a city and a state. You've got Kuala Lumpur, the vertical city, where because land is so tight, the only way to build is up. But right next door in Selangor, there's more room to breathe, and that's where landed homes, especially terrace houses, are king. So let's break that down. We're going to start with KL's rise, the vertical city. I mean, you just have to look at the skyline to know what's going on there. And the numbers don't lie. The demand for living high in the sky is real. Look at this. Transactions for condos are up 8%, and for serviced apartments, they're up a full 10%. People in KL are definitely voting with their wallets for that high-rise lifestyle. And all those transactions add up to some serious cash. We're talking 1.6 billion ringgit in sales for condos and apartments, and that's just in Q3 of 2025. It's just incredible, and it really shows you how strong this slice of the market is. And this is what it's all about. This is the lifestyle that's pulling people in. That modern, super convenient way of life, where everything you need, pools, gyms, shops, is right there, being in the middle of everything. That's the urban dream that's fueling this whole high-rise boom. All right, now let's hop over to the suburbs. We're going to Selangor to see a totally different side of the coin, a property story that's just as important but looks completely different. So when we say the suburban dream in Selangor, what are we talking about? Mostly, we're talking about these 2- or 3-story terrace houses. They are the absolute bread and butter of the housing market there, especially in these amazing, established townships that everyone wants to get into, like Bandar Akama or Kota Damansara. And you can see the vibe is just completely different from those slick KL towers. Here, it's all about community, about sprawling layouts, a slower pace of life, and having that extra space, a yard for the kids to run around in. Okay, this table breaks it all down perfectly. Just look at the price difference. A terrace house in KL, you're looking at about 1 million ringgit. But in Petaling, in Selangor, it's more like 700,000. And for condos and apartments, the gap is even bigger. For anyone thinking about buying, this is a game changer. So you've got these two very different, very strong trends happening side by side. So how does a real estate company actually win in a market like this? Well, let's look at a case study of one new powerhouse that seems to have figured it out. So say hello to Kommons Realty. What's so cool about their story is that they're brand new, formed just this year in 2025. They were created when two successful agencies decided to merge, basically to build a company perfectly designed to take on this new market. So what's their secret sauce? It really comes down to 3 things. One, they created this super platform by pooling all the best people and resources from the two original companies. Two, they went all in on tech, using AI to help their agents close deals faster. And three, they built a really strong, recognizable brand. It's a simple formula, but man, they executed it perfectly. And it worked. The results are pretty staggering. In just their first year, they've got 420 agents, they did $55 million in sales, and their leader even won Chief Executive of the Year. And they're not slowing down. They're aiming for $72 million next year. Incredible. But it's not just about the money. This quote from the founders, Wong Yo Long and Kenny Sim, really tells you what they're all about. They wanted to build a great company that truly adds value to everyone, their agents, their staff, and of course, their clients. And when you have that as your foundation, it's no surprise they're doing so well. So let's wrap this all up. What's the big takeaway here? It's pretty simple, really. Malaysia's booming economy isn't just numbers on a chart, it's creating a really dynamic property market where you, the buyer, have a very clear choice: the hustle and convenience of a high-rise in the city, or the space and community of a landed home in the suburbs. And that leaves us with a really interesting question to think about, right? With such a strong economy and with lifestyles changing so fast, what happens next? Will we see a new kind of home emerge that combines the best of both worlds? What will the Malaysian dream home of the future even look like? Something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me for this update.